It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, Charleston. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. And over the next hour, we're going to talk about all things real estate here in the Low Country. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, this is the show for you. So thank you very much for tuning in this morning. We play this show Saturdays at 8 and Sundays at 10. And again, we're going to talk about all things real estate. In this show specifically, we're going to talk mostly about selling your house. But before we get into that, I'd like to give you some contact information because in the event you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, I am one of the top agents in our area, have been for the past several years. If you'd like to contact me personally, please do so by calling me at 843-345-1273. That's 843-345-1273. Or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. And on that website, you can take a look at everything I have for sale, everything I've sold. You can search the MLS, read some testimonials, and if you're thinking about selling, click on the Sell Your Home tab. You can learn more about what I do to sell my properties. You can learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. So listingsincharleston.com is the website for that. So let me tell you what I'd like to talk about this weekend. I have decided to put my house on the market. My wife and I are moving to a different area of Mount Pleasant. And we actually negotiated a contract on the house that we were going to purchase before we put our house on the market. And I talk a lot on this program about selling your house and what you should and what you should not do and what to look for in an agent that you hire to help you sell your house and what's important to you about that agent, their ability to market your home, their level of experience, so on and so forth. And so here's my chance to put all of that knowledge to work and to create a good experience for myself in selling my house. And so what I thought I'd talk about first are just the steps that I took to prepare to sell my house. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about getting it on the market, the activity that I had, and what to kind of learn from that, what to take away from all of this. And so in starting all of this out, this is basically what I did. Whenever I meet with people and I talk about putting their house on the market and I say, all right, well, if you paint this room and you do some landscaping and you touch these areas up and you declutter and you do some staging, your house will sell if we price it correctly because I'm confident in my marketing. I know we'll generate the level of activity needed to sell your house. It's really just up to you as to whether we can get the condition in the right place and you're willing to price it correctly. And for the homeowners that listen to those pieces of advice and do what they need to do, we sell their house. And there have been, I think, already almost 12 houses this year that I've sold that have sold in a week or less. And that's, I would say that it's both a testament to my ability to help people sell their house, but it's also a testament to the market in general that we're in. If your home is priced well and it looks good and it's being marketed properly, it's going to sell. It's just the market we're in. It's a great market for sellers. It's really tough for buyers, quite frankly. But anyways, getting back to me putting my house on the market, I always tell people to do all of these things. And here's my chance for me to do it all myself. And so this week, I pine strawed and I put out flowers and I put up some bushes and plants and painted. And by the way, magic erasers are your best friend on the inside and the outside of your house. Those things work wonders. But anyways, I did all this work to my house, and I got to tell you, I'm exhausted. It was a lot of work. I mean, between pine straw and flowers, I spent $1,000, and it's not cheap. It's not cheap to prepare your house for sale, but you know what? If you do it right and you do it the way that it's supposed to be done, then the results will follow. And so here we go. We spend all this time and effort making sure that when people actually come into the house, that it's as pristine as it can possibly be. So on the inside, we took care of all those little things that tend to get away from you when you're living in your house. So we touched up some walls. We decluttered some of the rooms that we just didn't need stuff in. We put them in boxes, and we put them in our attic, and then we did some light staging. And then here's the kicker. With each room that we photographed, because we had it professionally photographed, which is something that I talk about a lot on this program. You have to look good online. Remember my saying, you want to be the prettiest girl at the dance. So we spent all this time preparing the inside to look good, but then when we photographed each room, some rooms took 2 minutes, some rooms took 20 minutes, because we staged each room for the photo. And that took quite a while. So the point in telling you all of this is that there's an incredible amount of work that you need to do to your house if you're not one of those people that lives in a show-ready home. I'm sorry, I'm just not one of those people. I have a 7-month-old daughter, and it gets tough at the end of the day to keep your house 100% show-ready. And, from my perspective, it's not like the president's going to come over any given night, so it's not 100% perfect all the time. So we spent a lot of time getting it ready. And then before we listed the house, so we've got the house in the condition that we want, we photographed it, and before we list the house, I do multiple activities. I very strongly believe in pre-marketing for a house. We are in a market that supports that kind of strategy. What do I mean by that? There is such little inventory out there in the majority of areas of Charleston that people that are interested buyers are basically watching the internet like hawks. And as soon as a new listing hits the market, they're all over it. And so what I did prior to putting it on the MLS and prior to going forward with just full-blown approach toward marketing and to selling the properties, I did some pre-marketing. And so what do I mean by that? Well, I sent out a notice to the agents in my office because I'm a Mount Pleasant agent. I have a Mount Pleasant office. Although I sell the Tri-County area, I live in Mount Pleasant. And so I told the agents that sell the real estate there that, hey, I'm putting my house on the market. If you have somebody in this price range and they're looking for these types of things, let me know. So I sent a notice out to all the agents in my office. I sent a notice out to the agents that were showing listings or that had recently shown listings in my price range in my area. That's called target marketing, right? So I have the ability to go into the MLS and find real estate agents that have created searches for their clients where my house would fit their search criteria. That's called reverse prospecting. I'll say that again. I have the ability to go into the MLS and find real estate agents that have created searches for their buyer clients where my house would fit their buyers' search criteria. I can go directly to the source of buyers that might be looking for my house. And I contact those agents and I say, hey, I'm listing my house. Here's a link to it. Let me know what you think. So there's obviously the pre-marketing to the real estate agents. But then you do all the things that would come naturally, right? You post it on Facebook. You utilize social media, get the word out about your house. Hey, do you have any friends, family, coworkers? Is there anybody you know that's thinking about moving to the area that might be interested in this house? Take a look at the link. I then also posted it on the Coming Soon page on Zillow, which is a fairly new feature, but I tell you, it works really, really, really well. What do buyers want? Buyers want what they can't have. So if you put it as a Coming Soon listing on Zillow, and they know that it's something that is going to at some point hit the market, and they also know that other buyers might be seeing that, that's how you create some urgency. Okay? So I did that with my property. I had multiple phone calls. I actually showed my house multiple times before it even hit the MLS. In addition to doing this pre-marketing, I put out a sign in my in my front yard. I sent an email blast out to my database. I've got about 10,000 people that I've been in contact with over the years, that almost 10 years that I've been doing this job. And again, I had multiple people that were interested in my house. We walked them through the house, and it's just a testament to tell you guys that if you're going to sell your house and you want to do it the right way, number one, it takes effort. Number two, it takes a lot of time, quite honestly, if you want to do it right, but it is worth it in the end. And I want to tell you why when we come back, because I'm going to tell you the results of this pre-marketing right when I come back. But you're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Again, reach out to me. Listingsincharleston.com is my website, or feel free to give me a call, 843-345-1273. Stick around because I've got more important information for you. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. I'll be right back.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back, Charleston. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. I'm your host, Brian Beatty, and thanks again for tuning in. If you're just joining us, we're talking about selling your house, and that's really going to be the focus of this particular show, which we play on Saturdays at 8 and Sundays at 10. And I've told you guys that I am now selling my house, and I walked you through the process of what I did to prepare my house for sale, all of the things that I did to the house itself, and then all of the activities I did to promote my house prior to it actually hitting the market, prior to it actually going on the MLS. And so, as just a quick recap to that, we painted, we did landscaping, we did some decluttering. The pictures were incredibly important. The pictures took us about 3 hours to do, I'm not going to lie. It was a tedious process, but that's probably just me being OCD about pictures. If you've ever heard me talk to you on this program about marketing, pictures, pictures, pictures. I'm telling you, folks, it works. Pay for professional photography if you're a real estate agent, please. Well, actually, if you don't, then you might not sell it and I might get the listing. So it's up to you. But I think it works really, really well. So that's what I've done so far in this program, is just talk to you guys about what I did to prepare the house for sale and then the activities that I did to promote my house. And so what I want to talk about now are the results that follow. Again, if you'd like to reach out to me, if you're interested in buying, selling, investing in real estate, I am one of the top agents here in town, and I have been for quite a few years, and would love the opportunity to earn your business. So if you'd like to reach me, 843-345-1273 is my phone number, or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com, and there's a bunch of information on there. You can click on the Sell Your Home tab, which is what we're talking about now, is selling your house. And you can learn more about what I do to market my properties for sale. And you can also learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. So listingsincharleston.com is the website for that. So we've done all of these things to prepare the house. We've talked about some of the pre-marketing things that I did to create some additional exposure for the house. Now let me tell you what happened. The house hit the market at about 6 p.m. on Wednesday this week. Immediately, we had 2 showing requests for between 7 and 7:30 that day, within an hour. I'm sorry, within like 15 minutes of it hitting the MLS. Well, I've got a 6-month-old daughter, and that just doesn't work. She goes to bed at 7, so we had to decline those showings. The next day, Thursday, 6 showings. 6. Boom, 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 all in a row. I couldn't, my wife now works with me. She does all the marketing for my company, and she was really looking forward to being self-employed and, having some time to spend at home and work from home. And we can't even live in our house right now. It's being shown so much. So for sellers that have their house on the market or that have recently sold, I feel for you. I know what you're going through. I mean, I deal with this a lot. I sell, 100 or more homes a year. But I don't sell my house very often. This is actually the first time that my wife and I have sold a house together. We've purchased multiple. We own multiple investment properties, but this is the first time we've actually sold our primary residence. And so all of the advice that I'm giving sellers is now ringing true in terms of, does it actually work? So I get to be a really nice case study for myself. But I'm pleased to report that, yes, it works. If you do the things that you're supposed to do, that you should do in order to prepare your house for sale, and you hire the right kind of agent that understands how to market properties, and you price your home well, your house is going to sell. I have no doubt about it. Unless there's some incredible extenuating circumstance, your house is going to sell. And if your house has not sold and you've tried selling for several months or a year or years, then something's wrong. I can tell you right now, it's price, condition, or marketing. I worked on all three before I even put my house on the market so that I'd hit the nail on the head. And so let me tell you, again, the results. 6 showings the first day, 5 showings the next day, multiple showings already this weekend. Several people have said they're bringing offers, and I did not overprice my house. I did not underprice my house. And I have to tell you that is a very challenging thing to do in this market, is to price it right. You know, as a listing agent, as somebody that primarily helps sellers sell their house. Again, I have buyer agents that work with buyers, and we can handle anything from the $100,000 buyer to the $5 million buyer. It doesn't matter. We've got a team to support that. But what I'm saying is that as somebody that usually works with the sellers on my team, I give them very pointed advice about what I think they should be priced at, because that's incredibly important. You know, when was the last time you met a seller that wanted to underprice their house? Sorry, doesn't happen. I certainly don't want to underprice my house, but I don't want to fall into the trap of, as a seller, thinking, gosh, you know, maybe we bump it up a little more, or maybe let's just increase that another 5%. We'll still maybe get some showings. It'll be fine. No, I don't want to do that. And I'll tell you why. And this is what I'm getting to here in terms of results, because these, I think, are the results that really speak volumes about a seller that does the right things and that aligns themselves with a real estate agent that knows how to market the heck out of a property. Okay? I have a few homes that are listed for sale in my neighborhood. I won't tell you what neighborhood I live in, but I listed my house on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, hundreds of other websites. My marketing plan is vast, and it's costly, but it works. And here's the proof, okay? My house listed on a Wednesday. As of Friday, 2 days, I had over 2,000 people view my house online just on Zillow. Okay? Over 2,000 people. That's 1,000 people a day. The other house that listed on my street 2 weeks ago only has 600. I had 2,000 in 2 days. They have 600 in 2 weeks. 2 more examples. Another house in my neighborhood has been on the market for 6 months. They've had 3,700 views. I've had over 2,000. I had over half as many views in 2 days that has taken them 6 months to get. Last example, there's another house in my neighborhood that's been listed for 9 months. They've only had 3,800 views. Again, I've had 2,000 in 2 days. So how can you, as a seller, think that all real estate agents are the same? We are not. The proof is in the marketing. And the proof isn't in the marketing. The proof is in the results that the marketing creates. Now, I was just talking about pricing. I have no interest in competing with overpriced listings in my area. If there's a house that's in good condition and it's being marketed well and it's priced right, it should sell in 60 days or less. That's the big point here, is that if your home is priced correctly, it's in good condition, and it's being marketed properly, it should sell. There shouldn't be any reason why houses in my neighborhood are on the market for 6 to 9 months. It just means that they're overpriced, or they started out overpriced. And it's funny because I told you that my wife does a lot of the marketing for my company. She was out getting the mail. She saw my neighbor, great guy, and he said, "Hey, I noticed you guys put your for sale sign up. Where are you headed?" So they chatted for a little bit, and he said, "What price are you asking?" We said, "Well, this price." And he says, "Really? I'd thought you would have asked more, because this house down the street, they're selling for this much." And she said, "Well, no, actually, they're priced at this amount and they're priced at this amount, but this house only sold for that amount. So these houses are overpriced, and they've been on the market for months, and we don't have any interest in being on the market for months. We just want to sell our house." So I couldn't have been more proud of her as a as a real estate agent, because she knew what she was talking about. But that in and of itself is an interesting point, in that a lot of people, even in their own neighborhoods, don't really know what's going on from a valuation standpoint. So I will just say very quickly that I offer a neighborhood market update to anybody that would like to receive it. And it's very simple. I just set you up with a search on the MLS, and each time a new listing or sale comes available in your neighborhood, all that information gets compiled, and I send you a monthly email. Just keeps you up to date with what's going on in your neighborhood so that you have the right information. Listingsincharleston.com is the website to go to for that. But anyways, getting back to what I'm talking about here. When I put my house on the market and all of that pre-marketing and all of that work that I put into the house comes to fruition, the proof is in the numbers, guys. 2,000 clicks in 2 days versus another house that listed 2 weeks ago and only has 600. All right? So if you're thinking about selling your house, I would say that my number one strong suit, aside from my experience and the fact that I sell 100 or so homes a year, is marketing. I understand it. I get it. I've put it to use on my own house. I expect to sell my house by the end of this weekend. It'll be 4 days. And again, I didn't underprice my house. I didn't overprice my house. I just priced it where it should be. So if that's something that you're interested in, you want to sell your house, I'd love the opportunity to speak with you about it. You can reach me through my website, listingsincharleston.com, or you can call me personally, 843-345-1273. When we come back, some final reflections on selling my house, and then I want to talk about appraisals, because it's a big issue right now, and then as a buyer, what you need to know in order to win in a multiple offer situation. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Have a real estate question? Ask Brian Beatty. Send him an email, lowcountryhomesales@gmail.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show is on 1250 WTMA. Now, the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on Charleston's Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks again for joining me this morning. This is the part of the program where I just like to say thank you. I really appreciate those of you that have contacted me in some form or fashion, whether it be just a simple question that you needed an answer to, or you were looking at buying, selling, or investing in real estate, and we helped you do that. So thank you very much for it's humbling just to be on the radio in the first place, quite honestly, but I just appreciate the opportunity to come in here and share my experience as somebody that has done this for almost 10 years. I've been in the top 1% of agents since 2009. And I enjoy sharing my experience and helping you prepare to either buy, sell, or invest in real estate. The whole goal of this show is to just help you be an informed consumer. So if at any point in time you'd like to contact me, you want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you can do that by calling me personally on my cell phone at 843-345-1273. That's 345-1273. Or you can go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. And on that website, you can take a look at what I have for sale, what I've sold, search the MLS, and you can click on the Sell Your Home tab, learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. Listingsincharleston.com is the website for that. So let me wrap up this discussion that we've been having this morning about my decision to sell my own house and the results that I've been able to create through the marketing, essentially, that I have done for my house. And just a quick recap, if you're just joining us, I decided to sell my house. We're moving to a different area in Mount Pleasant. And I put a lot of work into making sure that the house itself looked good. We did professional photography. We did everything that we were supposed to do to make sure that our house looked as good as possible, both in terms of someone walking through it and in terms of somebody seeing it online. And then before putting it on the MLS, I did a bunch of pre-marketing. I contacted agents that I know that are selling properties in the area. I worked my database. I put a sign in the yard. I put it on some of the websites as a coming soon listing. I utilized social media. There was a lot that I did to generate activity. And then boom, when the house hit the market on Wednesday, we had 6 showings on Thursday, 5 showings on Friday, multiple this weekend. But the big kicker is, and I just want to reiterate this one more time, and bear with me if you've heard this already, but in 2 days, just on Zillow, I had 2,000 clicks in 2 days. The other house a few doors down from me has had 600 clicks in 2 weeks. The other house that's listed in our area that's been listed for 6 months only has 3,700 clicks. So already my clicks and activity is through the roof. Why? Marketing, price, condition. Those are the three things, folks. If you focus on them, you get them right, it works, you sell your house, you move on with your life. And I can tell you right now, nobody in their right mind would choose to have their house on the market for 6 months at the rate by which my house is being shown. I can't even live in my own house right now during the day. We pick up we send our daughter to daycare. My wife works, I work. We come home. We basically have to go out to dinner because we have evening showings for everybody that works during the week. And then we go home, we put our daughter to bed, we hang out for a little bit, we clean up the house, and boom, we do it all over again. Now, granted, it's only been a few days, but who in their right mind would choose that kind of lifestyle? If it were me, which in this particular case, it is because I'm selling my house, I have chosen to price it correctly. I spent the time beforehand making sure that it looked good to buyers, both online and when they walk through the house. And then I marketed the heck out of it, and it worked, okay? So just one or two quick takeaways from that, and then I want to talk about appraisals because they are a pain in my you-know-what right now, and I need to get that out of my system. But here's a big takeaway. Number one, buyers know value when they see it, okay? These buyers that are looking at homes for sale with limited inventory are watching these websites like Zillow, Truly, or Realtor.com, Homes.com, all these websites. They are watching them like hawks. And when something new hits the market that fits their needs and that also looks good and that also has a lot of information and that is also priced right, they're going to go see it. You're going to get the kind of response that I got on my house. So if you overprice it, or if your agent shortchanges you on the photos, or if they're just not being, if your house isn't being marketed properly, then you're going to be like the other guy in my neighborhood that's only had 600 views in 2 weeks, or the other person that's only had 3,700 views in 6 months. The proof is in the numbers, folks. This stuff works. I'm not making it up. It's not a big cloud of smoke to distract you and to list with me. The point of the conversation here is that the agent that you hire matters. We're not all created equally. And I'm not here to brag. This is just as much a testament to our market as it is to my ability to market homes. But you got to hit it. You got to hit it on the head. You got to do it right. Okay. So buyers know value when they see it. If you overprice your house, they might just skip over it. If you don't have good photos or if you have limited information, they might just skip over it. Don't let that happen to you. One more quick thing, and this is a safety tip. And I don't really give a lot of these on the air because, I would hope that a lot of these things are common sense. But then again, we hear these kinds of horror stories in our industry all the time. So I just feel the need this morning to tell you this particular thing, and I hope that you hear me, and I hope you take it into account if it were ever to happen to you, okay? Now, like I'd mentioned, I've done a lot of pre-marketing on my house. I had somebody that drove by, they saw the sign, they noticed that I was home, I was doing some plantings in the front yard, and they said, hey, we saw your house on Zillow, we decided to drive by it, noticed you were home, we'd like to take a look at the house, okay? So we talked for a while on my front porch before I let them in the house, and I asked them some questions to kind of gauge their interest, determine whether or not this was a good utilization of my time, and it was, and whether or not they were a buyer that could actually buy the house if they liked what they saw. And they answered my questions correctly. Obviously, being an experienced real estate agent, I know which questions to ask to pre-qualify somebody, and I felt good about it, so I let this husband and wife in, and I let them see the house. If you are a seller and you are represented by a real estate agent, please do not be fooled by some of these people that pull up to your house that say, oh, hey, well, I'm a real estate agent, but I forgot my key card, and or even worse, yeah, I'm a real estate agent. You didn't know we had an appointment today? Your agent didn't tell you we had an appointment today? Oh, okay. Gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I'm here. Do you mind if I just take a look at it now? Folks, please don't. Bad things happen to good people, and don't let yourself into a situation where somebody can potentially take advantage of you. Make sure that anybody that knocks on your door has an appointment with a real estate agent, and that real estate agent is there before you let them into your house. Just be safe, and if you have kids, please tell them not to let strangers into their house. If you've got a house on the market, you come and answer the door rather than your kids do it. Again, I'm not going to tell you how to raise your kids, but I just want you guys to be safe because bad things happen. Okay. Just be wary of it. I felt the need this morning to say that because I did it. I felt comfortable doing it because I'm the real estate agent and the owner, but I would not feel good about a seller that has hired me to show their house to an unrepresented buyer because you just never know. Okay. Let's move past that. I want to talk about appraisals. And we're not going to have enough time in this segment to get through the whole thing, so we're going to have to take a break and come back. But I got to tell you, folks, if there's one thing that is just working against our market right now, it's appraisals. And I've got, unfortunately, some bad stories to share. And there's just not much that we can do about it, in all honesty. I mean, we love to say as real estate agents that we are problem solvers and that we identify the issues before they become issues so that we can solve them, so that it can be a smooth transaction, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, we as real estate agents have to rely on other professionals to also do their job so that we can ultimately close on the house, okay? One of the issues that I've run into a few times this year is appraisals coming in lower than the contract amount, okay? It unfortunately happened to my sister-in-law and her husband. They sold their house, they purchased another, and on both properties, the appraisal came in like $25,000 less than the contract amount. They're in Columbia, they're moving to Greenville, and the house that they're selling in Columbia, they did a bunch of work to, like $25,000 worth of work, but it appraised for the same price that they bought it for 2 years ago. Well, that's crazy, okay? Same thing happened in Greenville. This guy's selling a house, and it's not in good condition, by the way, but they're planning on fixing it up. But the appraisal came in like $25,000 less than the contract amount, and it is by far the least expensive home in, quite frankly, a luxury neighborhood. But the appraisal still came in low, and they were shocked. And so what do we as real estate agents do when this happens? How do we coach our sellers and our buyers through these particular moments in time where we've prepared as much as we can, we've studied the market, we as agents know what's going on in the market, but we have an appraisal that just doesn't agree with the contract amount? So I'm going to talk about that next. Stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Again, reach out to me, 843-345-1273, or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com, if you'd like to learn more about selling your house with my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. So stick around. I'm going to take a break, and we'll be right back to finish this discussion on appraisals.
Find Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. Expert news and views on the Lowcountry real estate scene. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. And thanks again for tuning in this morning as we wrap up our hour here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA, where we're talking about selling your house, the process associated with putting your house on the market. We've talked about price, condition, and marketing. And I've told you that I've put my own house on the market, and this is my opportunity to walk the walk, if you will, instead of just talk the talk. And quite frankly, if I can't sell my own house, then I have no business selling anybody else's. And so I've talked about some of the results that I've been able to create in a very short amount of time. And now we're talking about appraisals. And again, if I could say one thing that I feel is really holding our market back right now, it's appraisals. And I guess I have to look at this from kind of like the 30,000-foot view down, the macro view here. Let's think about the market for just a second, okay? In February, we had another month of price increases, okay? We actually had, for the 36th month in a row, year-over-year price increases. And if you look at median price for February as opposed to median price February of 2014, we're up about 7.5%. So prices are going up. Again, they're still going up. In our area, and that's nationally, by the way, in our area, we're still seeing prices increase. Certain areas are still going haywire. You would think that a bubble is about to pop, but there's so much activity, there's so little inventory. I just don't think we're there. I don't think we're in a bubble formation right now. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not an economist. I'm not an expert when it comes to bubbles, although I did help people get out of really bad situations after one burst several years ago. But I just got to tell you that the market is hot, hot, hot. And if you price your home well, it's in good condition, and you market the heck out of it, you're going to sell your house. But here's the kicker. It has to appraise. Appraisers are being conservative, in my opinion, right now. I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I listed a house. It's not an inexpensive house, but we listed the house. It was previously on the market for a little bit less, actually. So about a year ago, they came off the market. We decided to put it on the market last month, and we actually raised the price about $1,500. We sold it the first day, first showing, full price. Okay? We had another buyer that said, someone beat us to it. We were going to do the same exact thing. So clearly, there's a lot of activity in this price range. I know that. I did my research. I'm in the market. I understand what's going on. That's why I told them to price their house the way we priced it, is because buyers will pay it. Well, the appraisal comes along. The appraisal came in, and I'm not kidding about this. I really want to just file a complaint against this appraiser. I'm so mad at them. The appraisal came in for 20% less than the contract amount. 20%. I mean, excuse me, am I some sort of idiot that doesn't know how to price properties and read a market? Or are you? Give me a break. 20% on an appraisal? That's ridiculous. So anyways, now we're in the process of contesting the appraisal by providing them with information to support the price that both the buyer and the seller agreed to and still are agreeable to. Whenever you have an appraisal that comes in less than the contract amount, the buyer could say, sorry, nope, the appraisal said it's only worth this, so I'm only going to pay this now. They have that right in the contract. It's a contingency to the contract that the house has to appraise for the purchase price or more. If, let's use round numbers. If a house sold for $100,000 as a contract amount, but it appraised for $90,000, the bank is only going to loan money on $90,000. So the buyer would have to bring $10,000 cash to the table to split the difference. Okay? Most buyers aren't willing to do that. They negotiate. The other option that you have is to contest the appraisal to see if that appraiser is willing to adjust their appraisal to reflect some different comps, or maybe to make some different adjustments to the comps that were used. And that's the big thing. When I price a property for sale, I look at it through the eyes of an appraiser, okay? I make adjustments for things that they have done to their house, or the market that they're in, or the premium lot that they're on, whatever the case might be. Everything in their house is worth something to somebody, and I have a really good idea of what those values are in different areas. So here we go with this house. We list it, we sell it in a day. We have somebody else that was going to do the same thing, that if this contract falls through, they'll come back in at full price. Yet I get an appraisal for 20% less? How does that happen? I don't know. I honestly don't know on that one. Most of the time, I come up with answers. I'm a problem solver. I think that's where agents really demonstrate their value, is in problem solving. And problem solving before they become problems, quite frankly. But nobody expects for an appraisal to come in for 20% less than the contract amount. So what do we do? Again, I'm providing additional comparable properties. I'm providing some insight on why I think the comps that were used need to be adjusted a different way. But that appraiser doesn't have to adjust her comps. If she doesn't want to, she could say, nope, sorry, the appraisal stands. I'm not going to adjust anything. Sorry, you're screwed. Whatever. I don't care. It was an easy appraisal and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know what she's thinking, but I just don't understand how you get to that point. So just something to be wary of. Just because our market is hot doesn't mean that there are comps to support it. And you have to think about it both ways, right? So if we're in a seller's market where prices are rising, then comparable properties are lagging, right? So think about this. If a house closes today, it was under contract probably 2 months ago. 2 months ago, when they wrote the offer, they were looking at comparable properties that sold 3 to 6 months prior to that. So by the time a house closes, they're using information that could be 5 to 9 months old. In a market where prices are rising dramatically, double digits, that equates to a lot of money. And if you're a really nice house in a neighborhood where essentially you're the nicest house in the neighborhood and you're going to be the highest sale in that neighborhood that year, then you're really in a particular challenging spot, because where are the comps to support your price? We know the market's there. We know that buyers are willing to pay for it, but where's the evidence? That's what appraisers use, is where's the evidence? Sometimes there isn't any, and I wish that appraisers would just give us the contract amount, please. Obviously, the market is supportive of it. And I know that there aren't comps. There's always got to be a newest, nicest house in a neighborhood, right? Right. Okay, good. I'm glad we agree. Now just give me the contract amount on the appraisal. Thank you. Anyways, sorry for ranting, but I'm getting sick and tired of these appraisers that ask me to do their job for them. I had one guy that, I put a house under contract, nicest house in a development in downtown Charleston. And he said, hey, Brian, send me your comps and send me all this information. Send me the contact information. Send me the HOA contact information. Send me the ratio from investors to owners. I was like, dude, I'm happy to provide you with some comps, but, and I didn't necessarily say this, ultimately I did what he asked because I don't want to have an appraisal problem because I didn't respond to what he asked. But give me a break. I'm not going to do your job for you. Here are the comps. Here's what the contract amount says. Here's the activity we had on the home. You can do all the other grunt work, but there just seems to be this trend in our market right now where buyer agents or appraisers are asking for comps. Hey, how did you come up with that price? I'm happy as somebody that represents a seller to support our price. In fact, I hope that you ask because that just strengthens my position, right? If I'm representing a seller and you as a buyer agent say, hey, Brian, what comps did you use? That does not put the buyer agent in a very strong position, right? Because now they're relying on my information to support my price or the seller's price. Buyer agents that are winning right now, buyer agents that are doing a really good job for their buyers, aren't just looking at the comps and analyzing them to determine what they feel is a fair price for that house, but they are being tenacious. They are calling listing agents. They are getting information. They are saying, I had one buyer agent ask me a question that was really impressive. I didn't answer it, but it was an impressive question. I hadn't heard it before. And she said, hey, we're going to make you an offer. What would a buyer, we're going to make you an offer. What would your seller typically include as a counter offer so that we have that knowledge and we can just wipe that off the table? We want to make you a strong offer. What would that look like for you? And I was like, wow, that's actually a great question, and I appreciate you asking that. I can't speak for the seller. It's going to depend on the offer that you make, but let's see what you guys are willing to do, and then we'll go from there. Obviously, and I talk about this a lot, I'm not going to put my sellers in a position where I'm negotiating for them without talking to them. But that was a really good question, and that, I think, is the mentality that buyer agents need to have if they're going to help a buyer purchase a property in some of these really competitive pockets of our market. Hey, let's make an offer that's a play to win offer. Buyers, there's such little inventory out there, and then when they find something they like, they want to lowball it. It's a waste of time. I had somebody come and do that to me on my own house, and they said, hey, Brian, I know you just listed your house, but we're not interested in a multiple offer situation, and we're not going to pay you what you're asking, probably close to it, so just wanted to make you aware of that. I said, hey, don't even bother coming. Sorry, I appreciate the interest, but I've got plenty of it, so that's not what I'm interested in. But anyways, we've talked about a lot this program. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing, please contact me. My number is 843-345-1273, or go to listingsincharleston.com. I hope you enjoyed this program. Again, this is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA every Saturday at 8 and every Sunday at 10. Thanks again for tuning in, and enjoy your weekend.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning from 8 till 9. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. 843-345-1273.